If you want to get the most out of your spiritual realizations, there is something very important you should try to remember. It's really not that insights, these realizations about the nature of our experience, are just an end or a goal in of itself. It's really more so the case that we can take these insights, these realizations, and use them in a much more profound way. So what do I mean by that? It's the case that no matter what we experience, no matter how we look at the world, there's always a certain kind of lens through which we experience the world. And the usual lens through which we look is that of contraction, of identification, of limiting phenomena into solid, concrete, and self-existing objects. And so we can have insights and realizations that transcend this limited way of orienting to our experience. For example, we can see that phenomena are utterly impermanent. We can see that they don't have an inherently existing self-nature. They're all expressions of awareness, so to say. And of course, we can have many different other kinds of realizations. But the point I'm trying to make here is that just staying with these realizations, just as a realization, is quite limiting. We can actually do something much more profound. We can use this realization we had and use it as a kind of lens through which we are then experiencing the world and ourselves. So if you had, for example, the realization that all phenomena are in some sense just expressions of awareness, don't just stay with that as a kind of object of realization, but instead use that as a lens through which you are looking. So you are now aware from and through this lens of everything being an expression of awareness. And so if you use your realization in this way, it actually becomes an operating system from which you can live. So in that way, it's much more useful. But even more than that, if you use this lens, this different way of orienting to your experience, what will happen as well is that you will have different realizations that will arise, new insights which will come up. And guess what? You can use these realizations to upgrade your view, to create a different lens, use a different way of orienting to your experience. And so there's this continual refining of the lenses through which you are experiencing the world. And what is the goal of all of that? What does this all amount to? Well, very simply put, less suffering, more peace, more freedom, more happiness, more joy, less constriction, more creativity, more interconnectedness, more aliveness, right? So whenever you have a particular kind of spiritual realization, don't just try to repeat that experience. Instead, use this realization as a lens through which you can now look and experience and act. And see how that feels. See how that is different. And see what kind of new realizations can arise from that way of looking.